All right. It only took me the first 10 minutes of this Zoom to get my life in order to hit record. Hello, good morning. Well,
Good
good evening.
morning. Yes.
Welcome to our spin-off because we enjoy the woo-woo and the spooky so much we had to make a second channel to talk about the stuff we want to talk about.
Right on.
So, Andrea, you chose the topic. You included me in a new I had never heard of like this particular item or program. Like I've known of the program itself, but
Hmm.
I was unaware of after I started reading it, I was a little bit shook. Like I have some memories of this, but I think I might have washed out. So I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay. Well, this has just kind of popped into my feed, and just reading these random posts. And so the kind of the topic is, we'll just state that first, is 70s, 80s, 90s kiddos. There was a program within the public schools and maybe some private as well. I don't really know much about that, but it was called the GATE program. So like for gifted kids and talented kids. So I really kind of maybe suppressed some of these memories or because all these things I'm connecting dots and I really don't have a full picture of it yet because for me, I was diagnosed with dyslexia back in the day and whatnot, so I wouldn't have considered academically a advanced person, right? But maybe the gifted side that could have been another thing because I've had teachers say kind of like I'm an anomaly. They didn't really know what to do with me because did you back in Ohio, did you guys have like trailers or whatnot that you had or kids that
No,
pulled out
no,
of
when I got here, I got literal like movie culture shock. Like I was confused because we had school buildings, like multi-level buildings,
right.
like
So
a like
here,
something that would look like a courthouse here, or like yeah, actually the courthouse would be accurate. Like that's what our schools look like, fully enclosed, hallways, everything, doors, not just individual sections. So when I got here, I was like, what the hell's going on? Where's the school? Like why I didn't understand the concept, but now I do.
right. So like our passing periods with you guys, changing like levels, walking up and down stairs. Ours were like walking across outside in a campus and then kind of like the overflow. The school system couldn't, buy land to build another school, so they would just put module buildings. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm going with here on my train of thought. So, kids would get pulled out of class if they were in these like gifted programs, or they would have like certain sections of the day when they would go to another classroom and they would have more advanced curriculum. This is like what most of the kids remember. But then in these groups, they're remembering, it's like we have this collective consciousness that we're like co-remembering more of like visual tests and a lot of, and we kind of like talked about this over text beforehand just briefly. And you've said relatives have been involved in it as well where they were more uh, gifted academically
I mean,
and
I'm
they
okay to
were
say that my husband
okay.
was in
All
he
right.
was in some kind of program. Well, like I always like to say, he's too smart for his own good.
Oh yeah, and that's funny, like how we have these little sayings that we're like, I've said
He
that before
is. He's
about
too
so and
smart for
so.
his own
Yeah,
good.
right. So, yeah, on the surface level, it just seems that, oh, these groups were tested and they were more advanced and they need that push to, for these overachievers to, level up. But it seems that the after dark part is there was some nefarious things that were going on and some links hypothetically, right? How they kind of
Allegedly, for entertainment
allegedly, right?
purposes only.
Exactly. Entertainment purposes only. They just think about things like, have you heard of like the MK Ultra,
Yes.
like mind control things? And so we think like when we think of that, we think of, like Hollywood, where it would be somewhere like on a military base, something like that, where like this could never affect the general public. This would, somebody, oh, that would like have superpowers or something like from outer space, right? And they're gonna take the person and do testing on them, right? Uh, so maybe not on that scale where they're invading the body, right? Probe or whatnot. But these kiddos are now that we're adults and whatnot, so 30s, 40s, even in 50s, uh, they are remembering things like after doing the testing, they would be given a pink drink. And then
Okay.
they couldn't really remember everything that was happening during these testings.
Interesting.
Yes. And then I remember, and I don't know if this is adjacent or part of it, and we've talked about how you've never really lived in an area where it's not fluorinated water.
Correct. I've had fluoridated water until I moved to California. And
Exactly.
so that was my whole other autism mom side quest of like, there's no fluoridated water here, like at all.
Right.
In my county, in your county, the areas aren't don't meet the threshold. So try another one, autism cult. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. But
Right.
yes,
Right.
I've always had fluoridated water.
So then did you have the like little pink tablets that they like when they were like in health class when they were asking kid or trying to show people or
Yes.
kiddos uh
You chew the tablet and then it leaves the stain on your teeth.
right, and that's where, so the stain is where the pink stain is where you need to be brushing better, right? So is that like an associate, allegedly, supposedly, what some people are saying, maybe there was like more of a high potency of this or something adjacent that was this pink drink that kind of makes kiddos forget what happened to them during these testing and what were they really, was it just for academics? Hmm?
I don't know, but as you're saying that, I thought to myself, my husband was one of those kids that was affected by red dye 40 in the 80s. Like he was one of those hyperactive kids, I guess. Like this is from my mother-in-law. Which I kind of thought was comical because in my head I'm like, who the hell? I would have never imagined that I actually would meet somebody that, I'd always felt kind of like an 80s like conspiracy because we didn't have the internet. It was just basically word of mouth or if it was on the news, if some like local journalist or whatever did a story on it. Otherwise, it was just like, through the grapevine.
Mhm.
So, I just always thought it was funny when I found out about that, he was one of those kids, like, weirdo. I love him. I do. But yeah,
Well,
Jen don't judge, but sometimes Jen does judge.
that was one of the things for my kiddo that they passed in the evaluation? Does he seem to have um, like allergies to certain things? Does his temperament change when given? And that was one of the things
Hmm.
red dye 40. So I think there's definitely maybe allegedly a medical connection between those things.
Look, I'm open-minded. I'm an open-minded conspiratorial person. Like I like to apply logic and, d debunk something, and then when I can't debunk it, then I'm like, "Oh, wow, there might be something here." Maybe the drink was like a concentrated, like you're saying, maybe it had something to do with that red dye 40 possibly. Who knows? Uh, but I fully believe that, there were things going on, like how you're talking about the teeth thing. Like I lived in, especially when I was in like kindergarten, first grade, second grade, I was in a very impoverished public school system in Cleveland. And I mean, it never comes out the correct way when you say things. People take the context incorrectly, but we were like some of the only white kids in a predominantly black school. And I enjoyed it. I had a great time at that school system. It's like one of my, you know, formative memories, but it gave me a lot of introspection on how black people are systematically treated horribly. And I mean, like, I was the first, in my early youth, exposed to their cultures. And so I can say that living in that school system, we would get every day a mouthwash to rinse and spit, like every day, which I found out that it was some kind of like dental thing through a federal program, possibly. And it seemed like they targeted poorer areas, one, because, they're trying to say, oh, well, you may not have good dental care. But two, you're probably not going to get any pushback of like, well, what is this and why are you doing this here? So I think that's the other key to that is that there are definitely parts of society that are targeted for specific things because they won't ask.
There you go. And is the suppression so, yeah, so there's not that pushback, right? Because when you work like a population so hard and there isn't there's really in communities like that, when is there like a stay-at-home mom or even the grandparents, that were constantly working. So, when one is so physically tired, it's hard to keep up on everything and the ins and the outs of what goes on in a school. And kind of goes back to our other channel,
And
right?
in
That
those days, I don't know about what happened here, but in Ohio, the teachers could still beat the shit out of you. So,
that that kind of stopped, I think, in the 80s here, in the very early 80s.
yeah, I remember being in like first or second grade and the teacher could beat the shit out of you. Yeah. It never happened to me because I was a good kid. I for real. I'm not being a smart ass. I know that I'm the me now, but if you had known me then, you'd be like, "Damn, she's hella meek and mild. Like I would have never grew up to be this."
Oh, wow. So this just happened in front of the
Oh
class?
shit, yeah. The teachers would snatch you up and beat the shit out of you. And you know who in my mind and memory retrospect, the special needs kids were getting their asses beat all the time because they couldn't read, they couldn't write, and the teacher was like, "Well, I'm just gonna beat you because you're not doing your work." It's like they fucking can't.
So they beat these kids into
Yeah.
submission.
Yeah. I'd love to know the statistics on those kids that ended up in a life of crime. It's probably pretty high.
Right. Because when you have authority figures, telling you constantly, oh, you're this, that, and the other, degrading you, that becomes, you internalize that and you're like, well, I just might as well just be bad because society is already thinking that I am. So yeah, it's interesting how those kiddos were marginalized, were put in boxes, and I was just watching a very sweet African American lady that was talking about how within the public school system, there is like a private education, kind of like this GATE program, and you have to kind of pay a psychiatrist or a psychologist to do a IQ test on your kiddos. And this is all allegedly. I don't even know where this lady comes from or whatnot, or if she's telling stories, but I mean, hey, I'm just connecting dots here. That in her district, supposedly, if you pay, and these parents knew who to go to, if you pay for an IQ test for your kiddos, they will put them quite high in their
The
ranking
AP classes.
in
Yeah,
AP
of
classes. And
course.
so that starts them on a journey to, go to like a good 4 year right out the gate university, and that sets them up for life.
Yep.
Uh, and she was like, that was interesting to me because she was educated. She had the college education that they would reach out to her, being that she was melanated, right?
Okay.
And she's like, I knew my friend's kid, her kiddo's friends, qu quite smart, but darker melanin, right? And how come they weren't getting those opportunities? It's just
I get it.
those dots.
I absolutely get it.
Interesting.
And it's I believe her. It's true. I mean, we're white people, and I mean, I can think of, as soon as you said it, at least 10 memories pop into my brain that I can say, like, I believe that happened. Believe it 100%. Um, I have no reason to think that, it's like, you believe women. I want to believe people of color when they say I'm discriminated against, like right in your face. Yeah, absolutely, 100% of the time. I
Mm,
believe it.
yeah.
I have no reason to deny that.
Yeah. I respect her journey and her story. And yeah,
Yeah.
it seems very plausible.
Yeah, and also as somebody who has that kind of background and education, like what is she, what's the benefit to her to fabricate that?
Exactly. Right. Why was she putting herself on the line to fabricate something like that when she's already kind of has it made, right? She has a good job, good education, good family foundation. What's the point?
I try
Right.
to be objective when people, even if somebody comes and tells me something about, another, like, let's say they come and tell me something bad, and I'm like, I'll hear you out and I'll believe you, but also I'm like, well, what could possibly be your motivation behind that? Like, are you mad at them? Are you trying to extort them for something? Like, who knows?
Right. Yeah.
I'm not living, high any, above my means or anything, or I'm not, but objective to where I came from. Yeah. And if one of my maniacal DNA sharers came out of the woodwork, I would hope that somebody would say, "No, and them people are after something." Somebody's probably going to see this and be like, "Fuck her." Well, fuck you guys too. No, but seriously, let me not get off topic. Um, so the page that you introduced me to, and what actually resonated with me more was this mall.
Okay. Yeah. So,
And I had no idea what this was at all. But I
right.
saw pictures and drawings and I was like, oh, I've had dreams like this too. Oh my God, I had no idea. I was like,
Right.
there's a whole, like, I had a whole ass, like, research, like, deep dive last night. And I was like,
I know, yeah.
The
I wish
hell?
we had it to like pull up on the screen, but I'm gonna look at it here and kind of talk about it. Let's see. I wish it was in bigger high definition because some of it, the tinier script gets kind of distorted. So yeah, Mall World. So that's kind of this collective remembrance of what these kiddos that were supposedly in this GATE program, right? Is so when they dream or go to sleep, they go to this world and there, let's see how many number or how many sections. Wow. So about 38, so about 40 sections of this mindscape that they go into, and it's literally feels so real to them. Uh, and when I kind of was reading about it, and I go, Mall World, well, I haven't really experienced any of like, yeah, the major part where the center of this map, which um, is like the centralized downtown, which would look like, a mall from the 80s, 90s, right?
I'll have to kind of I'll have to text you this picture because I'm gonna have to, I we're both bad on technology. I'm trying to like link things, but here is the picture I found, and then here is a map of an amusement park that I grew up going to as a kid. And when I saw this first picture, I immediately thought of the amusement park and my jaw hit the floor because I was like, "Oh my God, the layout is so identical."
Right.
It messed my brain up.
So it kind of gets into these kiddos like subconscious where, yeah, they're drawing pictures and they're making these connections. And then it seems like, yeah, we're having this collective remembrance. And so I was so, like I said, so confused about the mall world part, but it seems like I have only been in one section, the things that I'm remembering in my dreams of this whole collective mall world. And so there's, let's see, an airport, a train station, subway tunnel, bus terminal, a bridge network, and a massive parking structure. So these are 9, 8, 7, 10, and 11, but they're all like interconnected. So this is just what I'm remembering. And it's truly insane when I'm just like, whoa, whoa, all these memories like popping up where I'm kind of stuck in this bus like and subway system. And I feel like I'm just riding these trains and it's kind of like the back. I think people know more about the back rooms. Have you heard of that before? Where
No.
you kind of get, it's like this infinite kind of like hallway with like dimly lit light, and you're just trying to escape. And there's different levels, or there's people like talk about like a hotel too, like where it's like corridors and you're trying all the, yeah.
No,
So,
I've never experienced anything like this. Um, but for me at least, like the part that resonated with me about the mall world was I had this extremely vivid dream after my grandmother died, and we were in a baseball stadium all by ourselves. But it was like the vibes were like we're having the best time. Like we were having a nice conversation, and there was like a roller coaster. It was like as soon as I read this, like this dream immediately popped into my head. And
mhm.
in this particular dream, and my grandmother died in tw 2008. And I think this was like 2010, 2012-ish, around the CERN time, by the way. Um,
Hmm.
but I had this very detailed dream, and she told me some things that happened like not long after that. And that's not the first time that's happened to me. I've had very vivid dreams where a relative has come to me and told me things, and it happens like in short order, or a a pregnancy or a death. There's other things like that that I mean, I'm very open-minded to it, and there's no explanation, and there's no way for me to be like, maybe I had pattern recognition. It's like, well, how did I have pattern recognition when I woke up at 4:44 in the morning and, minutes later my brother comes and knocks on the door and says, "Hey, our other grandmother died." And I'm like, I was just awake. And then at her funeral, finding out that like five or six other relatives were also either awoken at that same time or had woken up just prior to that and were so upset and anxious, waiting to get a phone call that something had went down, not knowing what went down. And it was a very sudden, unexpected death. So there was, and she was in another state. So there was like no way I would have had any inkling or reason to think or believe that she was sick or going to die. And she was like 65, I think, when she died. Like she was older.
Young.
She wasn't that old, and she was in generally good health, but she ended up dying of like a stomach aneurysm. So
Huh. Wow. Oh
that's
my
what I'm
goodness.
saying. It was like how very odd, but yeah, I do very clearly remember like waking up and being like, I was just awake. Not that that would have changed anything, but in my mind, I was like, man, something woke me up, and it was that she died. I know it was. Like that's the only explanation that makes any sense to me. And I've had a lot of things like that happen in my life, but I have no good explanation for them.
Right, right. And that, so you said 444.
Mhm.
Oh, so do you know about the angel numbers? The reoccurring pattern of numbers?
I do, but I never correlated that until this moment. Like as soon as you said it, I was like, weird. The ones I usually see 1111 like every day. And
Right.
sometimes I see 333, but like 1111 is like the one I usually see.
Interesting. So I would just kind of look into that and see what that represents in the angel numbers.
Well,
And
go ahead and talk. I'll Google it right now.
oh,
To piggyback off of that, the first part of that, I find it fascinating that there were opportunities and availabilities for these programs, and yet we have to struggle for a special need program of clearly children that were involved. It's like, so you guys have the capability to make this happen when you want it to happen. Good to know.
yeah, and that's what kind of this lady that I was talking about with the school system within the school system, she was saying that too. It's like, oh, so suddenly when you kind of unlock that level, right, of giftedness, then suddenly you have your kiddos will have all these opportunities. But why isn't that across the board? Aren't we all taxpayers paying for?
Dude, my middle school, okay, and that's another thing I don't see here. I see elementary school and I see high schools. I don't generally see a middle school. So Ohio would be like kindergarten through fourth grade was elementary school, and then fifth grade through eighth grade would be middle school, then ninth grade through 12th grade high school. I've not seen that here.
Yeah, it's different. It's just even like TK through sixth grade is elementary school. And then some of the like rural elementary schools, they will branch off and have the seventh and eighth graders sometimes with them. But usually the bigger middle school here in this area, it's just seventh and eighth.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
not even like seen a physical middle school building. If they're
Okay.
even
Yeah.
around. Like they got to be around,
Oh
but
yeah,
I've never seen
they
one.
definitely are. And then yeah, then your high school years, ninth through 12th. So yeah, that's interesting to me to hear about all the different school systems across the country. You'd think it kind of would be across the board the same way, but I guess they're, states do it differently than a federal on the federal level.
Cleveland, the Cleveland Public School District at one point was like the premier number one school district in the country. A
Wow.
fun fact about Cleveland is that it was kind of like I don't know about the summer homes, but like the Rockefellers and a lot of like, uh, I know for sure Rockefeller and JP Morgan, they had homes in Cleveland, like huge mansions. And that was, I mean, I guess I didn't realize like the melting pot that I lived in until I didn't live there anymore. And so there was a lot of influence and a lot of money and a lot of things that were thrown at that community that were slowly stripped away. And by the time I was, in schools, the school system was really going through a big time struggle and change. And that's about the same time that those programs I noticed stopped. So, I was going to say that I remember, was I talking about being in middle school? I kind of like sidetracked myself. I'm so sorry.
You're
Um,
about to see if you don't really see middle schools. Okay, so you were in middle school.
I was in middle school and I remember one, I had to go to speech therapy because as soon as I say it, everybody's going to hear it. My S's and my Z's. My whole life I've had a problem. Plus, I have like a Gene Simmons long ass tongue. Anyway, so I remember doing that. But I also remember getting like hearing tests all the time. And I also remember when you said seeing like a picture, like I have like a vague memory of like look at the dot. Okay. And then I also have a vague memory of doing like all these occupational therapy things, like how fast can you do the blocks? But no other kids were around.
Yeah. And then, so do you remember where these tests were conducted?
One of them was I was sent to the at the time was like a joint vocational school.
Hmm. And so was this somewhere where your parents had to take you? Was it after school hours or were you on
No, they
a
took
bus
me
there?
while I was at school and they put me on a bus. Is this the thing? Is this the thing?
People
I'm
are kind
over
of,
here like I'm genuinely like this is all new information to me. Like this is
yeah.
messing me up, Andrea. Like
So it's like missing times. Like people
absolutely.
you don't know what really, so
I
I
have
think
like a almost photographic memory, but it doesn't work for like practical shit. Like I could be like, in 1986, I saw you and you had an orange shirt on and you said da 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 da. But don't ask me something important like, you know, I don't know, whatever. Some like Jeopardy question. I'll be like,
right. So it's like were our minds kind of like trained in vi-
I don't know. I have a feeling that
allegedly,
I washed out of
supposedly?
whatever it was because right around like 10th grade, maybe, I started being like a bad kid and like cutting school and like going to smoke pot with my friends and like seriously like legit ditch school and just I was in my fuck it era. So
Yeah.
yeah. But I looked up this angel number while we were talking about that. It says angel number is a spiritual message indicating protection and encouragement and stability. It suggests that you are on the right path and that your angels are supporting you in your endeavors. Why that would be a correlation with somebody dying, I'm not sure, but I don't know. I've had,
It's just that your guides are with you during,
they're like, hey, it's fine. You're good.
right?
You're good, kid. But sometimes I'll get mad and be like, bitch, where were you when all this other shit was going down? Thanks for telling me now that shit's cool. Where were you then?
Yeah. Well, it's like when we wonder why like God isn't with us, it's like the teacher is quiet during the test.
Shut the front door. The teacher is quiet during the test. Stop it. My whole head just went, "Grrr." Man, did you major in philosophy?
No, it's just something that I picked up on and kind of brings me peace and makes me realize that, yeah, we really do have to go through these like pits and valleys to become a person of substance, right? And yeah, it has to be
That's
that way.
actually pretty
Sometimes.
comforting. Thank you for saying that. Like we- I I just love talking with you. Like every time we talk, we always get on some hilarious tangent of something, but I always walk away with a like a kernel of something really inspiring. And thank you because you balance me out. I need to make like a layout for us that says like, you're the class and I'm the sass because it's the truth.
Truly, I love it.
I have no problem admitting that out loud. It's fine.
Well, I feel
Anybody
like
that
I've
knows
learned
me
so
knows it's
much
true.
from you as well and connecting all these dots, like we're saying. And if you like a channel that gets right to the point, this may or may not be for you, but we circle back around, like we say, and we try to hone in on.
Yeah, put us on and just, listen to the convo. That's what I like to do. I like to listen to, there's shows I love to listen to that, I just feel like I'm listening to people chat it up and talk about things I like to talk about. But again, we're always open-minded if anybody wants to talk and visit. Like my Diana, I know I'd love to have her back. Like this would be more for her because if you got to watch our last upload when I was talking to Diana about her son passing away, and the second part of it, like we just went down the rabbit hole, like straight up, and it was great, but it wasn't the correct forum for that. So it's like I really want to support the mom knock life
Right.
for its intended purpose. If it never gets an eyeball on it, I don't care because it's the smallest way that we can give some advocacy and especially highlighting like the abuse of children and in autism. Like that one's going to be up Monday. So I'm looking forward to, seeing what becomes of that. But, life is funny this way. Is like we started one thing and then a second kind of thing popped up out of not really nowhere because if you're an astrology girly guy, woo-woo person like me,
Hmm.
this right now we're in a major ass transition and whenever I heard my own horoscope about a week ago, it said something about like some opportunity is going to come out of nowhere and basically jump on it, and that's why I was like, let's do it. Let's do it.
Right on.
I was
Yes.
like, "Ooh, the signs." I listen. I try to listen and pay attention to the signs.
Well, even with the signs changing and whatnot, we are in the age of Aquarius, and it is
It's Gemini season, boo.
just the yeah. So the song "The Dawning of the Age of Aquarius," the lyrics, we it's this like disclosure of information and the veil being thin.
Is that why this movie Disclosure Day is coming out right now in the age of Aquarius? Is this our extra conspiracy?
All these
Uh,
alleged things, right? That kind of ding, 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 dot connecting. So is that what? Okay, so we're gonna tie it back to. I was like, I'm sorry, more construction and
That's all right.
whatnot. Hear noises.
My air conditioner just kicked on outside. It's like, "Meow." So I'm sorry.
No problem. So, kind of like tying back to our first topic here. So, when we're talking about the veil being thin and these disclosures, so is that allegedly, supposedly, why we're having these collective remembrance on things? And that's why in these like forums in the group talking about how one person will bring up a topic, right? And it's like triggers so many, like hundreds, if not thousands of people's remembrance. And it's like they kind of get like a little puzzle piece to the full picture. And so if we can all kind of bring a puzzle piece, we can maybe complete that picture and then have maybe the full memory back of what transpired.
Possibly. I mean, I feel like I have a very specific memory from like third grade, and I remember being in the cafeteria and it was cold outside. I remember it being March. And then I literally remember sitting there and being confused and upset because it was May and it was warm outside. And I had no recollection of those. It was like that. Like I was literally sitting in that cafeteria and I have this very clear memory. And I never talked to an adult about it because I didn't have the verbs to explain what the hell I was feeling. And I couldn't be like, I know for sure that it was just a winter month and then it's May. Like I didn't have the words to explain. I just lost 2 months of time and I'm literally physically sitting in this cafeteria. And it wasn't a dream. Like it was not a dream. It,
Right. So, because you just
I was
can,
wide awake. It was almost like what the you would say you like spawned in. Like I
teleported
swear,
or something.
like
Yeah.
something like I was sitting there eating lunch and then I was still sitting there eating lunch and it was literally 2 fucking months later and I'm not joking you. Like I was like 7 or 8. I had no words for what happened, but I have a very clear memory of it happening.
And that's something else that was in that group where people are kind of jumping timelines, supposedly, allegedly.
I don't know. I
I
feel
don't know
like I
either.
jumped a timeline because, and I love this whole CERN thing that was on there.
Okay. I was like, you tickle my fancy when because
I
that
love
was the
this whole
next little thing I was going to talk.
CERN. I
Yes.
know. It's like I feel like we should jump out and record a whole other ass episode
Right.
because I
So,
could talk about the CERN thing for a hot minute.
oh, I could too. So let's just graze the surface on the CERN, and then we'll make another. That will be the topic of our next episode. And
So
I love how
what are you trying to
organically,
say that we're gonna edge people on CERN?
yes. So we're gonna I love how organically our topics come into being, like when we just vibe, like, okay, this, oh, I didn't know that. Oh, thanks, you've taught me this. And then, like I said, connecting those dots. So I'd like for you just to kind of like present, if our audience isn't familiar with CERN, can you just give a brief little like synopsis of what it is?
The the powers that be, and for whatever purpose, I'm not quite in sure, but I do know that it was a particle matter. They built this huge oval sphere circle deal, like a tube, but
Mhm.
like miles long, and they were trying to split a particle or
Yeah.
bang a particle together. Okay, so when it's and collides, and they're trying to do this on a small scale, I think they fucked up. I think they killed our timeline and somehow we into a different timeline because look at all the fucking insanity that's gone down in our world ever since that shit happened. And on top of that, like my whole personal world at that same time, it was like, a whole bunch of shit changed for me, like within that like small fraction of time that I was like, weird,
And do you
weird.
remember what year this all your
2012.
and then what did that also coincide with an ending of something? Do you
Mm.
know? The Mayan calendar.
Oh, I was gonna say the Mayans, but I thought maybe I was going down the wrong rabbit hole. I was thinking about like maybe there was like an event that I wasn't recalling.
So at that
Again,
time,
I have this crystal recollection of shit like this. Don't ask me some, uh, you know, I keep going back to the Wizard of Oz of like the isosceles triangle. Like I don't know. I got nothing.
right. So yeah, this was happening in Geneva, Switzerland. And it's interesting to, see all the people that are the powers that be that are paying for this to happen. And this kind of definitely do rabbit hole connection. This allegedly can be a part of what we're talking about with this GATE program and things where these kiddos are like they know they have a memory, but then people are no, that that didn't happen, or but how are we finding each other now, right? And all these things that are getting disclosed, and then people are will just skim the surface. But give me the one uh, topic or image that you believe from another timeline is real that they're telling you, you try to go and Google it and it's something completely different than what you remember.
I remember the guy in Tiananmen Square getting run over by the tank. Like I remember being a little kid and he was killed by the tank. I can understand why that would be covered up and why they would be like, no, nobody ran a dude over. Of course they would fucking run a guy over. And the way that you're not even, if you even go there, if you even say like a fucking massacre happened here, like they'll kick you out. You will get arrested. Like you're not allowed to talk about that. The soldiers were told that the farming basically like the farming community or they were trying to overthrow the government. And it's like that's not what was happening at all. Like they were not told anything true that was going on, and why would they tell them the truth? It would only inhibit them from running a dude over with a fucking tank. I swear by that. That guy got smushed by a tank. I know he did because I had the memory of it. Like like when we were little kids, Walter Cronkite was still alive. Like I'm telling you, that dude got smushed by a tank. I will die on that fucking hill because I remember that.
And that's what people are saying. Like, I will die on this hill. And this is what happened.
And
And
Fruit of the Loom definitely had a fucking cornucopia.
thank you. You took the word and see, that's why we vibe. You took the words right out of my
It
mouth.
had a fucking cornucopia because,
100.
dude, I remember being in kindergarten and learning about the cornucopia, and I was like, yeah, it's on fucking underwear. Okay, yes, I was 5. I wasn't saying fucking underwear, but I remember immediately going, "Oh, that's
So
what
you
that thing, the horn
associate
of plenty
that's
is on the
the
damn
horn of
under. Why the
plenty
fuck would I know what a horn of fucking plenty is, and why would I think, oh, it's on fucking underwear? Because it was.
because it was. Exactly. Exactly. So that's
Well,
the
validated
Mandela
and
effect.
freaked out.
So then that's called the Mandela effect. And then all of this was happening around the 2012, 2013 mark when that term was kind of coined. And then we'll on
Because
a
Nelson Mandela died in prison when I was a kid, because when I saw him on the news dying, I was like, I could have swore that dude died years ago.
right.
But that's a definite memory I have. And I didn't know. I mean, like I'm more of like a ghost, demon, tarot person. I'm not really I wouldn't call it a conspiracy, but I'm like these are new topics to me, and so I'm genuinely reacting like I've no reason to like we don't have an audience at all. Who am I fucking lying to? My friend? No. Myself? No.
Gaslighting yourself over there,
Yeah.
Jen.
I need the attention.
But yeah, who puts themselves out there to seem so crazy? And that's what, going back to this group, it's like this, all these alleged things. They're like, what? So this connects with this and and so many of these kiddos. So maybe we can let's check that. Yeah, we'll probably conclude with this and kind of wrap up the GATE program here.
Sorry. Yes, we did adult ADD jump all over, but this is like our inaugural episode for this venture. And so maybe we kind of needed to set the tone and the vibes.
But hey,
That's what we're going to say we were doing, like we know
we know what we're doing, right? I
every
love it.
day, all the time.
So, a lot of the message threads that are coming through here are saying they're asking about neurodivergence. And a lot of them are saying that they're on the spectrum, or so they think that they are, they have a family member. And then it kind of goes back to the time span of when they're saying, 70s, 80s, 90s. When, not to say that we we know down deep in our souls that we have a family lineage of neurodivergency. But I think what they kind of molded the minds of some of these kiddos, right? Allegedly, and kind of tapped in to what being neurodivergent is. And they kind of maybe allegedly harnessed some of the powers and kind of connecting to the after dark, maybe the spirituality aspect of it.
I just still have
Those
to
are
go
the
back to the whole education availability for kids who, oh, they're bored in class. They need to be challenged more. Since when do you guys give a fuck?
thank you. What they only seem to care when they have an agenda.
I mean, my kid is on the spectrum. He can't perform general functions as a 6-year old, almost 7-year old. However, we just got their report cards, their final report cards. It's like he's in the first grade, and their grading system here is so different and weird, by the way. We had A, B, C, D. It used to be F, and then they changed it to E because I guess F upset people. But so I had to relearn like this whole other like obscure letter grade system and this calculation. But essentially, my child is like second grade and a half level
Right.
from the start of the school year. So it's like, okay, I'll once again come back with well, you guys don't seem to really care because this kid is overperforming what you're presenting to him, and you're not going out of your way to do anything for him. I gotta fight you tooth and nail just to get on even playing field for him. No more, no less, just equal. So
And truly, for the most part, they teach to the middle. I don't know if I've said this in other
yeah,
podcasts, but if your kiddo is too advanced, and then if they need extra help and they're over here, oh, then, and you as a mama try to battle them, unfortunately, or it feels like you're going to battle, then you become a problem, right? Uh, so you
I
really
wear
do
that
have
like
to,
a badge of honor. I love becoming a problem. It makes my heart smile.
the squeaky wheel gets that grease, right?
I don't even know if that's what it is. I used to laugh about my mom because my mom was a bitch and I loved it. And I've inherited that bitchiness, but I used to tell her all the time she was a rebel without a cause. She was. If she once got in a bar fight with somebody over the color pink because they said they liked it and she decided wanted to have beef with them and she said, I fucking hate pink. And they fought
Oh,
in the street
wow.
over the color pink. So if that's not a rebel without a cause, I don't know what is.
She sounds like a very interesting woman, and I would have loved to meet her.
She was cool. She's off the hook. I'll leave
Hmm,
it at that.
little moment of silence for her.
R.I.P. Dirty Diana. Yeah, since tomorrow's my birthday, my husband will be returning from his work trip, but he's going to be leaving again. And that's fine. Get out of my house. Then I can spray all the nice smelling stuff I like to spray in the house and make my house smell nice.
Right on.
That's why I'm like, get out. But no, I don't know. I don't know. My kids said something to me like, basically, what's dad gonna do to celebrate your birthday? And I went, yeah, right. Because he's a
What are
smart
you gonna
dude.
do
Here's how
then?
he said it the way I love to hear anything. He's saying it with cash, and I'll accept that. Thank you. Thank you, honey. I will accept that monetary donation. It will purchase my silence for a limited time.
So what is Jen gonna do for her birthday? What, are you gonna take yourself out?
Yeah, probably. I think I might go get my toes done by myself,
Right on.
possibly. I don't know. I have to go. I have like a doctor's appointment Wednesday next week, so I'm gonna have to ask the neighbors to take my kids to school, and then the following week my husband will be back home. I gotta go to the old OBGYN.
Hmm,
Yay. Get your annual checkups, friends, every year. Don't let them tell you you can wait 2 years. That's some bullshit.
right.
All right, well, I know. God, I either love or hate my so
I love it. It makes it interesting.
I'm also going to definitely say something to my primary care physician of like, do you think you could help a girl out with her probable ADD? Like, watch me screw around and get on some medication and then be like really boring. Like, oh my God, she had a whole coherent, cohesive thought and chain of storytelling. She didn't jump to five topics, but I always circle back.
Yeah. We always wrap it up with a nice little bow in the end.
Yeah, there's me working on mm, my second and a half energy drink of the day, and I guarantee you I'm gonna take a nap. How come I can tank down
How do
some
you do
caffeine
that,
like
girl?
that and be like,
Oh, wait, it's the ADHD.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like that's gonna be my argument of like, no, literally, I started drinking energy drinks and I'm going to sleep and I realize, oh, it's balancing something out in my brain. What's up with that?
Yeah,
Fix me. Thank you.
I love it.
Nobody can fix me. I'm fine how I am.
You are.
All right, honey. Well, thank you so much. I am excited for this. I love this idea. So y- you are the catalyst and the inspiration behind this. So wishing
Thank you.
us luck. Thank you. This was fun. I am excited for the next topic.
I am too. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we got to do
it's
this.
kind of nice for us to balance out because on our other channel, we're like mad.
I feel
We're
like I'm
fighting.
always at the verge of tears and it just takes it's this emotional toll. So this is more lighthearted and yeah, just kind of the rabbit holes that we like to research and go down. And
Love a
I think
rabbit hole.
for I think for us mamas that yeah, have the sometimes stress of raising our neurodivergent kiddos, this is kind of how we decompress.
Yes, if it makes me an escapist for doing this, then it is what it is. It's my little checkout time.
Right on. Yep. Right there with you.
All right, honey, I love you so much, and I'll catch you next time. We'll set up our schedule and we'll work on our other projects and things. But thank you again as always, and like and subscribe, as the kids say.
Yes. All right.
All right, bye.
Here. Bye.